I'm looking for Roberta. Manny, you don't need to come to Angola anymore. You got it. Your prayers have been answered.
You in.
She can even enhance your art show.
You in. Roberta.
Thank you for taking him away from me, okay? It's incredible to hear Roberta, because we came to Illinois before and we couldn't crack the door. And the demon on the gate was a correctional officer that wouldn't let you in. That's what we call them in Louisiana, the demon on the gate. We put them on the night shift and get rid of them so you can get into prison. But anyway, you know, if folks like you folks can wreck my security, I need wrecking. And I think that's what they've come to conclude in Illinois. If folks coming to spread the gospel can wreck their security, then you need wrecking. And so it's just a no-brainer. I'm going to be real brief, and I had just 20 little deals that I'm going to go through real fast to show y'all some churches and kind of where we are and where I want to try to get y'all to be. Are we there? Are we going to be able to do that? There we are. Okay, next. I was going to tell them I was going to say next. Cemetery, next. I'm trying to show you the churches. Next. Okay, we're having church. Next. Keep going. Keep going. We're working in the field, too. Next. We're praying. Next. Little Catholic church with big farms in Louisiana. Next. Next. We're working out, but we shouldn't be. We should be praying. Next. Okay, we're making arts and crafts so we can give it to Manny so he can sell it. Next. Bishop Tannehill, hold up right here. I have to tell you this story. Bishop Tannehill spent 52 years in Angola doing a life sentence for murder. And finally, the pardon board let him go, and the governor signed his pardon. But the only way they let him go is he went to New York. And this is where you come to play. Bishop Tannehill, 52 years in prison, an inmate minister. Terry Vanderay sitting right here. Met Bishop Tannehill at the front gate of Angola. Terry, I wish you'd hold your hand up right here on the front. And I had to wish it because he wants no recognition. And so he took him all the way to Chicago. And he lived in Wheaton, in that area. Put him up in his house for 2 weeks. Stopped first at Walmart. Threw that paper bag away we gave him and went and bought him some clothes. Bishop Tannehill didn't know how to get on the escalator when he got to the airport. Had to try to figure it out, and then when he got to the top, he tried to back down. But he couldn't get back down because the people were coming up, so it just threw him off the end. So he finally got on an airplane, and he said, Warden, he called me back and he said, Warden, that plane flew too high. He said, the Bible says, lo, I am with you always. And so he didn't want to fly high. And so went to the Brooklyn Tabernacle, and it gave me great pleasure to see tonight Pastor Sembla's daughter here with the Chicago Tabernacle. And Bishop Tannehill is on the staff at the Brooklyn Tabernacle. And Bishop Tannehill is saving souls in New York. And Bishop Tannehill is successful because, and he would have never made it, because someone met him at the gate. Someone took him home with him. Someone bought him clothes. And someone took him to a church. And someone rented him an apartment. And someone got him a job in that church. And that man is successful in saving souls today, and less people will come to prison because of what these men did for him. And that's what Manny's trying to get you to do tonight. He's trying to get you the churches. It takes the churches. And we in the South sing that old song, Onward Christian Soldiers Marching into the War. And I almost forbid churches to sing the song if they don't realize that they're God's Marines. And if you're not God's Marines, who are they? It's you, it's me, it's us. We're his soldiers, and we got to come on and do the battle. The battle costs money, and we got to put it up, and we got to do the thing that he did. It wasn't only the money. It was Terry Vanderay's of the world that picked people up at the gate, put them in a rented car, haul them to Baton Rouge, buy them some clothes, and put them on an airplane and go with them, and went with him all the way and delivered him to Pastor Sembla. He never was without Terry Vanderay. He was with him the whole time because he clung to him like a little child because he had never been out of jail. Can you think the blessing Terry Vanderay got to be able to take a man to Walmart that had never been in Walmart, didn't know that Walmarts even existed, and to walk down the aisle and see all that stuff? I mean, all that under the shelves, and what it meant to him, and in what it meant, though, and what do you think the Holy Spirit wasn't smiling? It was. Next picture. Keep going. I'm looking for a church. There we are to the front gate. Okay, we the land of new beginnings, and that's what prison really is. And Roberta, that's what you're saying. It's where it all starts over. We start lives over there, and that's Philippians 3:13. We forget the past and move on to the future. Then let me tell you right now, they won't all be successful. You're going to have failure. Because what happens, we have the New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary at Angola. We've graduated 147 preachers, full 4-year degrees. The seminary says this, 10% of the ones they graduate in New Orleans that never even have been to prison fail. 10%. So we can't expect that we won't have some failures too. That's the devil. The devil will turn you every way but loose to try to get you not to do this. So you just got to watch him because he wants to make some failures so you'll quit. You have to persevere. Next picture. Keep going. Bicycles, but we're going on. Next. I thought we only had 20 of them. Next. We're showing you a whole farm. Next. Keep going. We're going fast. We're going to see a church here in a minute. Next. 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 We farm and work hard. We pick a little cotton. Next. Next. Y'all getting a real tour of that chapel. That was one. We saw one. Okay. There's 5 of them. You see that big old church? They have to have somewhere to worship. So we're doing our part in prison. Next.
We need to build churches.
Next. That's Bishop Tannehill. Look, he doesn't come back from New York. He's back to Angola. You know, what prisons are going to tell you, Roberta, is he's on probation or he just got out of jail. We can't let him come back. You good. You fix that. Okay, that's cool. He ought to be able to come back and tell the rest what it is outside. Look at that suit he's wearing. Now, you saw how he was dressed in prison, didn't you? Now, Terry, you took care of that dude. Next, church pews built by inmates inside a prison. Next, preaching in church. Next, more church. Next, another chapel. We'll see another one. Next, this is how they look. Next, those are inmate ministers. Another chapel. That one has a big cross on the steeple. Next, another church way off across the field. Next, another church. And you see that big old bell? The bell was built in a foundry in Philadelphia, brought to a black church in southern Arkansas. We weighed 2,600 pounds. When they were lifting the bell into the steeple, the bell tower, they dropped the bell, and it killed a member of the church. The bell sat in a warehouse in southern Arkansas, and we found the bell. And our inmates raised $4,000 to buy the bell. A bell cost $100 an inch for those great big church bells. And they love that bell because that bell is a killer. And it's ringing in a prison loaded where all inmates are murderers. So it's where it's supposed to be. So they love their bell. It's a very special bell to the inmates in Angola. Y'all get it? Y'all get the story? Okay, well, act like it. We got it. Okay, next, go ahead. That's our large church. That church seats 800 people. The others you've been seeing seat about 340. Next, inmates in church. Next, funeral. Now here we are. Art Roheim is here. He's with us tonight, the founder of Awana. And Awana does Malachi Dad. And Malachi Dad reunites an inmate back with his family. Don't leave out Malachi Dad. You've got to reunite the inmate with his family before he's released, especially with his children, and he changes their ways. I'm going fast. They only gave me 5 minutes. Next. More about the inmates with his children. Next. Saddest day in the world when they leave in the evening. Next. So many prisons won't let their dads hold their children and be close to them and spend a day with them playing games and so forth. Next. See, they're meeting their dad. And when you see a dad bring his children to Christ, it just blows your mind, and you realize you're really doing the right thing. Next. Thank you, Art. Thank you, Awana. Art's there with me, and we're releasing all those balloons. Next. There's a lot of people in prison. Okay, with the end. I just wanted to show y'all that because I wanted to say the Awana program is critical to us in our prison. Roberta, it's incredibly important that you have Awana with their Returning Hearts program and Malachi Dad. It's also important that you see we did our part. She's doing her part. Now, she can't make it because there's a big wide gulf between the day she lets him go and before he gets back in his community. And if you don't do your part, there's going to be a lot more victims of violent crime. We're talking about victims. We're not just saving his soul and getting him out there. We're saving someone else walking out of the mall with a gun in their face and a knife at their throat. and that's what's going to happen if you don't do your part. We can't bridge the gap. I can't bridge it. She can't bridge it. I can build churches. I can teach them. I can pray with them, and I can get them there. Bishop Tannehill could not have made it without Terry Van Der Ray, and we know it. So now do your part and help Manny Mill out and help Cornelia House and stay in prison ministry, but be a home for them. Thank y'all so much for having me.